The office was dimly lit that Friday afternoon, the sun casting long shadows across the cubicles. John, a stalwart employee of the company for over 30 years, sat with his hands clasped, gazing out of the window, lost in thought. Today was his last day. He was retiring. His desk was already cleared. The only thing remaining was a small cactus plant, a gift from his wife years ago. John's introspection was interrupted by the soft clearing of a throat. He turned to see Jackson, a young man in his early 30s, standing awkwardly by his desk. Jackson had been appointed to take over John's responsibilities, eager but slightly nervous about filling the shoes of a man known for his wisdom and steady hand. "John," Jackson began, "I wanted to take a moment before you leave to thank you and maybe get a bit of advice if you're willing." John nodded, gesturing for Jackson to sit. Taking a deep breath, Jackson continued, "How do you feel about leaving after all these years? Doesn't the thought of moving away from this routine make you sad? How do you face the emptiness of not having a story to tell anymore?" John regarded Jackson with a smile that was both warm and understanding. "Ah, Jackson, the wave of sadness, as you call it. It can indeed rise above your knees if you let it. But life isn't just about what we leave behind. It's about what we carry forward." "What do you mean?" Jackson asked, a frown creasing his youthful forehead. "Life, my dear boy, is a collection of stories. Not just the ones you make, but the ones you share and, importantly, the ones you continue to build," John explained. "I spent years here, and yes, the work was fulfilling, but it was the moments in between, the laughter at lunchtime, the shared worries over impossible projects, that made my story rich and memorable." Jackson listened intently, intrigued by John's perspective. "Retirement isn't the end," John continued. "It's simply the beginning of a new chapter. Our stories don't end just because we closed one book. We just start writing another, often on very different pages. Do not fear the emptiness. Fill it with new adventures. Engage in new endeavors, meet new people, learn skills you've never had time for. The beauty of life lies in its unpredictability." Jackson pondered this. "But how do you manage when challenges seem overwhelming?" "Challenges are just unexpected turns in your story, Jackson," John replied with a knowing grin. "You navigate them like you'd walk through a fog. You move forward slowly, carefully, but always forward. And if sadness tries to rise above your knees, find what anchors you. Your values, your loved ones, your passions. They keep you steady." Jackson sat in silence, absorbing John's words. The office felt fuller, not emptier, as if every corner was now echoing the stories John had shared and would continue to shape. As they stood, John clapped Jackson on the shoulder. "Jackson, remember that your life story is not just here in this office. Take the time to fill each chapter with color, with meaning. Don't be afraid to rewrite parts that no longer fit. And when you retire, know that you'll also leave a legacy, a story worth telling." Jackson nodded, feeling the torch pass from one storyteller to another, ready to embrace not just the role, but the richness of the narrative awaiting him. As John left, a thought lingered in Jackson's mind, a ripple of excitement about the stories yet to be written, both in work and in life.